Good morning. Thanks for joining me on another live stream. We're going to try and get another DraftKings draft to go on this morning. We're going to see how long this lobby takes to fill. We're currently 6 out of 12. Let's see what we got going on here, see how long it takes. If not, we might switch over to a BBM. But let's see how it goes. I definitely want to be one of the people that stream DraftKings drafts over here because I just feel like it's one that's not often streamed enough, and the rooms are can be very frustrating, but it can also be very fun. You can get a lot of value to fall in these drafts, and um, I just think there's lots of room to be had. Like you can get some crazy, like I've seen, you can get like Trey McBride and like the late third, and just a lot more randomness happens on DK than you see on Underdog, where everything's a little bit more tightened up and polished. Good morning, GM Skeletor. Thanks for joining in, Best Ball on Call. So let's see here. We're gonna keep on refreshing here. We're slowly getting there. 7 out of 12 here. So let's see. I have the sidekick up. I do have the RTA tools up and running here. Just just to keep like on track with week 17 matchups and bye weeks. It's just less for me to think about throughout the draft, and uh, I don't always follow it. I definitely IKB it a lot. So we'll see here. I can go over. Let's see here some of the rankings. If this continues to take a little bit, hopefully we get there, which it looks like we're slowly getting there. Underdog definitely fills a lot faster than these DraftKings draft do, especially early in the morning. But hopefully there are four more people who want to get in here and join. Let's see here. So tapping over to my rankings, I do use Leg Up for the sidekick, but I also import establish the runs rankings. So we can go over a couple like what I'm looking to do in this draft. Um, right now, basically on both sites, I'm basically staying away from all the elite quarterbacks. I really don't want any of these guys until we get to the like Kyler Murray ADP range, where I'm trying to take 2 to 3 quarterbacks between 90 and like 160 ish over on both sites, really. That's kind of been my philosophy going so far, just with how ADPs are. Um, I definitely think there is a lot of value to be had uh, when you're going with the 3 QBs in the window, especially over on DraftKings. Um, on DraftKings, especially, I'm more inclined to skip over the elite QBs. Like, yeah, they do have like the higher ceilings and higher floors, but like even a guy like Tyler Shuck, I mean, he can score as much points in a week on DraftKings as Jalen Hurts or or Jaden Daniels, just because of the 300-yard bonus and whatnot. So like that, the bonuses over on DraftKings definitely help uh, close the gap between the quarterbacks, and which is why I'm even more comfortable getting in some of these more value uh, quarterback picks. And then looking at ADPs over on DraftKings, I was looking at it before I went live. Just seeing some of the players go like a little bit later, and you'll notice on DraftKings with like the Q tags with the questionable, they'll start to fall for no reason, even though we all know that there's nothing really wrong with Olave right now. outside of his concussion history. Um, he falls all the way into like almost the 80s with a ADP of 76. So like I'm probably gonna look to get like two of the better running backs in the first 5 rounds, and then hammer wide receivers along the way, and then possibly grab a top tight end if our draft position allows for it. If not, I definitely don't mind waiting much later into the value range. So we're at 11 out of 12. Um, so hopefully this screen will blank out here in a minute, and then I'll have to refresh the page. I'm not sure if that's a me thing or if that's something that happens to everyone, but usually when a room fills, it'll tell you to go back to the lobby, but all you have to do is just refresh the page, and uh, the draft board will come up. Yep, still waiting on one more. I know drafting on DraftKings can be very tilting because it every room is its own mystery over here. You don't know when the quarterbacks will all start going. So I've seen drafts where like Aaron Rodgers is like gone at 140, and you're just like, well, I have no quarterbacks left. Um, like the quarterback thirstiness on DraftKings gets real and gets fast. So that's something you have to pay attention to every single draft because you don't know what kind of room you're going to be in, and especially like you get some people on auto drafts and they will just or auto draft 5 quarterbacks, and it'll cause everyone else to start grabbing their quarterbacks early. So it's the wild, wild west over here. Definitely a lot more unpredictable than it is on Underdog, where you don't see as much craziness happen. But I'm hoping to get either probably on Underdog. I've been stuck in like the back end of the draft, which I don't mind. I definitely prefer the back end uh, than to the front this year, but I haven't drafted on DraftKings in a week or so, so I'm not really sure exactly how the ADPs are working out. I mean, I looked at them, but it's a lot different once you actually go into the drafts and start doing it. And then, like I said, DraftKings is just so wild. You'll see, Jaden Daniels go in the first round sometimes, and value will just continue to fall. And unfortunately, when I think the best spots are going to be like in the middle of the draft when you get in these crazy rooms because then you can start soaking in all the value rather than being at the ends of the drafts or, um, from like 1 to 4 and 8 to 12. You'd rather be in that 5 to 7 pocket where you can start soaking up all the ADP value. So we're still looking to get one more. Hopefully, people don't start leaving here pretty soon. It's always the fun of DraftKings. You never know when this lobby is going to get filled. But hopefully not too much longer. Wanted to get a quick stream in this morning before I headed to work. Um, and I know Chad Candles will be going on live in about an hour and 20 minutes. So, I mean, that'll be a good lead up and then right up into his stream. And then, and then I guess another thing we could talk about is the fantasy best ball DFS contest. Um, that Justin Herzig created uh, definitely caused a lot of people to, care about their salary a little bit too much, I think, from last night. It's just, it's whatever. It was based on probably, I think the salaries were probably based on if you won, because all the winners were 10K, and then probably went on like just BBM advance rate or just advance rate in general. Um, I'm sure that played into a huge factor. And last year was definitely not a great year for me. Uh, the prior 2 years before were definitely a lot better. But hey, we learned. I made a lot of mistakes in drafting, and just I faded Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry for the most part. And yeah, well, that's how my season went. When you fade two of the best players in fantasy sports in best ball, you're not going to do as well as others. But I still had a couple finals teams in various contests. Had one in the Millie Maker last year. Did not make it to the BBM finals. But had a Dalmatian almost make it to the finals over there, but came in second. Um, so yeah. Oh, here we go. This is what I was talking about. The lobby just, goes away. You have to refresh. All right, we are in the front of the draft here. Looking at pick two, see if we notice anyone. See if I notice any of the usernames in here, which I do not. Last year was my first year. Three out of 69 to the semis and BBM no finals. Yeah, I mean, like, even getting 3 out of 69 drafts to the semis, that's still impressive. Like, it's really hard to make it. The expectation of even making the finals is one every 8.5 years. Um, so, and I believe the finals. I believe to make it to the semis last year on Underdog, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the structure was 2 out of 12, 1 out of 16, 1 out of 16, if I remember correctly. Maybe it was 1 out of 13 like it is this year. But yeah, it's hard. There's pod luck, there's variance. You know, I definitely had a couple teams last year where scored like this the most points, or like the second or third most points in my pod, but um, didn't make it. But those teams would have like cleared different pods. So like pod luck is a thing. It happens. It's all part of the game. But yeah, no, 3 out of 69 to the semis. That's still not bad. Definitely hoping to get a lot more in through this year. I'll be maxing both the main contest here on DraftKings and on Underdog. I'll be doing a lot more drafts on Underdog. So let's see here. I said I wanted to probably start out with getting some good running backs first. And with the tush push possibly being banned this week, looking at ADPs here, who will come back to me? I think I'm gonna go with Saquon Barkley, and which is not something I did at all last year. Um, yeah, I probably drafted around 1,000 teams last year, and I had absolutely zero Saquon Barkley, and I am concerned. He's not someone I want to be overweight on this year, just because of how many touches he had last year in the regular season, and of course, this Eagles making it to the Super Bowl. Um, yeah, just a lot of wear and tear, and generally running backs who have that much of a workload in a season, they tend to not do as well the next year, and it's definitely quite a bit of concern. And also, if you believe in the Madden curse, he is going to be the Madden cover this year. So I mean, Christian McCaffrey was on the cover last year, and we saw what happened to him. So I definitely think. Uh, Not that I believe in the curse. I mean, it's all fun and games, but it's definitely interesting to see how the majority of the players on the curse or on the cover end up do having a bad year, getting hurt or whatever. Well, it's really only been quarterbacks that have uh, beaten the quote unquote curse and Calvin Johnson. But I mean, when you're the GOAT wide receiver, uh, it's kind of hard to be cursed. I mean, he did end up, he did play for the Lions, which I guess in and of itself is a curse. Stance on Christian McCaffrey. That is a good question. I definitely am trying to load up more now than I want to later, just because I think by the end of the draft season in August, September, I think we're going to see him as a top 10, top 8 pick in best ball. And he's definitely a guy I want to load up. The 49ers have um, the easiest schedule this year when it comes to the strength of schedule. So, I mean, that could lead to a lot more rushes. His, I mean, people want to say he's injury prone. It was really just last year. I mean, yeah, he's had other injuries that come up throughout his career, but I mean, he's still finished as like a top RB most seasons. And the fact that you can get him like later in the draft, um, like in this like 10 spot when normally he's in the top three, like, and you can like pair him up with a great wide receiver too in this area, is something I'm looking to do quite a lot. So yeah, he's probably about someone I'm looking to have. I'm trying to get like around 20% now, but like by the end of the year, I'll probably back it down to like around 10 to 15%. Yeah, see, 12%. I think that's pretty good. Just trying to keep that pace up all year. I definitely think. I mean, without a doubt, I think he's gonna go up into this, you know, 7 through 10 area uh, by the end of the year. I definitely think he can leap Genti, and I wouldn't be surprised if he flips Amon-Ra too. Same with Gibbs. I don't think he comes up to this Lamb Bijan level at all, but I can see him sliding anywhere between 6 to 9 really by the end of the draft cycle. He's just when he's healthy, he's the best running back in the league, and he basically had a whole year off last year, so he definitely has a lot um, to give for this year, and you know he's going to be needed if the 49ers want to make it far in the playoffs, or even making it to the playoffs. So let's see here. T. Higgins goes off the board. Flip this around to ADP. Um, hmm. Do I want to go Trey McBride here? T. Higgins already went. Yeah, I like the PPR upside of Trey McBride. I'm gonna go there. So we're kind of going a little bit off, um, you know, on a different path here, with not really getting wide receivers, and I honestly am possibly gonna draft a running back here too, but probably not. I might go with like Garrett Wilson on the turn here. Or nope, I was see. You'll see a lot that these quarterbacks will just start going off at random times. Um, I will take Terry McLaurin here as my wide receiver one for this team. But yeah, I wouldn't have minded going another running back, just with how ADP is gonna fall here, and there's so much value over on DraftKings with wide receivers that you can still get, a good wide receiver later on. And I'm definitely trying to get like two elites or top end of the market running backs here. So we'll see who comes back around. Um, but no, I definitely do prefer this backside of the draft between 8 and 12. It looks a lot better. and it feels a lot better uh, when you're drafting. And see, like the 12 spot guy, he started Puka and Brian Thomas, like, and that's because McCaffrey got pulled up, Derrick Henry got pulled up, which happens very often over on DraftKings. You'll see like just these pull ups that will lead to insane value for like this guy in the 12 spot who is probably going to have a pretty good team considering he has Puka, who I have ranked, well, established the run has ranked, as a top 7 pick, and then also adding on Brian Thomas, like that combo in itself is probably more rare than not. So yeah, oh, here comes our first wild pick. Um, we got Najee Harris going in. I wonder if that's like a little star method thing, or this guy had that McConkey, and then he just starred all the Chargers in ADP order, and Najee Harris would be the next one off the board. I believe Najee would go before Trey Harris. So yeah, this is gonna definitely. And then Jaden Daniels goes. Joe Mixon now goes. So yeah, we're starting to really get the true effect of a DraftKings draft. It's gonna be a wild one. Um, and we're gonna have to just play the draft board and see what falls to us and go from there. We definitely got to pay attention on quarterbacks because when they all start going, people get scared that they're not going to get them. And I mean, Rashee Rice is still on the board. Chase Brown is still on the board, which is absolutely insane. But when you have quarterbacks being pulled up, even though on DraftKings they're not as much being pulled up because they do generally go higher over on DraftKings, but um, like you just get a lot of value like that Najee Harris one, and especially the Joe Mixon and Jaden Daniels. It's just a little bit higher than normal, and this 12 spot guy is just living the dream, starting with Brian Thomas, Puka Nakua, Devontae Adams, and Chase Brown. Like I can't ask for a much better start than that. Now, having what this guy in the 4 spot did is with 3 running backs is probably something I won't do. Um, I still generally believe that getting the later RBs is better for you on DraftKings, just because PPR will basically make any running back pretty good. And then when injuries do happen, unlike last year, if we do get another year like last year where not many running backs get injured, then I mean, yeah, this guy's probably gonna have these guys in their starting lineup every week and in their flex. But you know, we don't know what injuries will happen. We don't know if situations will get split up, and uh, there's it definitely leaves a lot of room for like these later end of the board running backs to bring in a lot of value to your team. So Joe Burrow goes unstacked. That's very common. I rarely ever see Joe Burrow make it back over here. His ADP is around like 42. Yeah, I believe this is actually around his ADP. So he could have been auto picked. I wasn't really paying attention to that. So now that we're back on the board here, let's see who came to us. We have Xavier Worthy. That wouldn't be bad. Let's see here. We're gonna tag in. Tat came back to us. I wouldn't mind Sutton as well. Think for being on DraftKings, I would prefer to have Tat on my team right now than I would Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy just, I don't think he had too many games last year above 20. Like, yeah, that first game, and then 2 others, it looks like. Basically 4 total. And then Sam Laporta goes off, which is really early, especially before like someone like Kittle. But we already have an elite tight end on our team, so we definitely don't want to do that. Um, let's see here. By rank, who do we got? Yep, I think I'm gonna go with Sutton here. We're gonna double up on week 12 bye week, but that's fine right now. Um, we'll get other wide receivers. Week 12 really isn't that major concern on bye weeks. It's week 8 what I found is usually like my killer. I'm a lot of players that I like are on week 8, so that's the one that scares me the most this year. Where like last year, week 14 was seemed to be like the Achilles heel of every team. I mean, it didn't help that uh, the Ravens and the Texans were week 14, and they were also the week 17 matchup. And then, most of the rookie quarterbacks also were week 14, Drake May and Jaden Daniels. So it was definitely a much harder week where I'm finding that like week 8 this year, there are a lot of players. Like I still like the Lions offense. Um, Jacksonville is a great offense to target. The Rams, like it's pretty crazy for week 8. You have a lot of good players, I and like it's just it makes that one hard to uh, go about drafting, getting all those guys on the same team. And I am somewhat of a bye week bro, but at the end of the day, I do want to get the best players I can. So we already have our first double two QBs going off here, Naked Hurts and Naked Lamar. It's just a lot of capital. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy drafts another quarterback too. Like we'll see how it goes, but I mean, just based off what he's doing now, it's pretty likely that he goes another quarterback later on. And then I wouldn't be surprised if some of these other guys starts getting scared and starts drafting quarterbacks here. But no, I'm definitely yes. I think this guy right here had Najee queued up and he missed his pick because all these other picks make sense and no other Chargers are going off the board right now with him. So I definitely think that was, a star method mistake. Judkins is going early. Waddle's ADP is also like around 70 here on DraftKings, which is absurd. He should definitely be a lot higher. So I feel like 56 is about where Waddle should be going. Especially if we see like another, if Hill is kind of going over the hill, uh, or if anything happens to Tyreek Hill, Waddle could be in for an insane season to justify why he's been going in the second, third round for the 2 years prior. So let's see what this guy on the turn does. I think a lot of these, we're starting to see like a lot of these teams kind of killing themselves with wide receiver firepower. Um, he has Harvey. Harvey fell down to him. That's solid. But yeah, like these 3 and 4 RB teams, like this guy right here in the 4 spot, like I feel like his team is just like it might be able to score a lot every week, like as a floor from the running backs and flex spot, but like his wide receiver firepower is not going to be good enough compared to a lot of the other people in this draft. Still have George Pickens on the board. Calvin Ridley is someone I'm looking to target. DK Metcalf, yeah, DK Metcalf definitely fell down. All right, we got another 4 running back squad here, so this you just see a lot more teams killing themselves. They're kind of paying the rake here. I feel like that Debo pick was you can't be going that high over here, can you? Oh, his ADP is 63. Wow, okay. Yeah, Debo is definitely not a guy that he's probably someone I'm going to be fading this year. I don't like his ADP on underdog and on DraftKings. Um, I think he's going way too high. I don't really see him, having a great season, especially one that could pay off his price right now. If you were like in the 80s, 90s, I would find that much more reasonable. But just being price conscious here, um, I don't. I wouldn't pick Debo over Ridley, over Pickens. I mean, Godwin. I mean, you can make a case about Godwin and how good of a season he's gonna have. But like Montgomery, like all these players, like I really don't want Debo over these guys, especially because Terry's still gonna be the one. Um, Jaden's still gonna have his rushing upside, his rushing touchdowns. Um, Zach Ertz is still there. He, I just really don't see it in for him this season. So coming on up on our pick here, we'll see who we have. Definitely want to take this off like that. Um, I don't mind Jawan Jennings here with the bye week 14 that only laps with Tet. Um, where is Rome on this ADP? Rome is right there. I think I'm gonna go with Rome here, just to get a little bit different. I like his price. I'll happily take him lot earlier, like in the early 60s, even the late 50s, really. Um, I definitely think he's in for a good season this year with Ben Johnson as head coach. Olave, yeah, I don't mind Olave here. It's also a different bye week, and it gives us more stacking options later on. We'll go there. So yeah, what I like to build my teams out, basically with stacking options later on. I obviously couldn't really do that with Terry McLaurin, but I'm hoping at first McBride can come back to us uh, down here at 95. I'm sure he won't. I'm sure he'll probably go, you know, around the turn. Uh, but even without that, we still have Bryce Young, who I definitely don't mind. Um, we'll have Bo Nix as an option, Caleb Williams as an option, and Tyler Shuck as an option. So, I mean, not the best of quarterbacks, but I mean, we'll have open options, and we have this guy on the turn here who has Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. So, like, he's only at two wide receivers. There's definitely going to be some room for me to be able to hopefully push QBs. Like, hopefully, if Kyler Murray comes back to me around here, which I think his ADP does line up to 95 ish. Yep, 94. And so we basically have to watch. I mean, ideally, we'll only have to watch the Marvin Harrison drafter, but you just never know on DraftKings. Um, yeah, we got basically all these quarterbacks going off with no stacks. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is the only one that's linked to Xavier Worthy here, but I'm gonna hope that on my next turn, one of these quarterbacks, either Bo Nix or Kyler Murray, make it back to me, or Caleb Williams. Definitely would not mind that at all. Should should in theory have one of them come back. But basically on how ADPs are. So looking to see if that happens. We have another three RBs. This guy still has two wide receivers. We have one guy who's absolutely pissing. We had with six wide receivers. Um, yeah, Cooper Cup. He's probably going to be another guy where I'm going to be at about around zero this year. Um, I think if the Rams are giving up on their, you know, their most like valuable player that they've had in a long time. It really says something about where Cup's trajectory is in the league, and I'm not trying to catch the falling knife on Cup's career. It's probably more than likely he's over the hill, and it's sad to see when one of the greatest wide receivers in the past 10 years goes down, but I mean it happens to the best of them. Let's see here. Yeah, we definitely got some good looking teams, right? And then, ooh, this guy in the 12 turn, man. Wish I could have had that start with Brian Thomas and Puka and Chase Brown. I don't know if I would have picked Adams there, or if I probably would have gone Rice, because I don't necessarily want Adams. I don't think having Adams and Puka on the same team is something I'm looking to do a lot. But definitely the three out of the first four picks I would have loved, especially attacking on Rice onto that. But just that PPR on DraftKings is just a lot of value. So I think we are gonna get, unless this guy takes Kyler Murray, we are gonna get him, and then I'm gonna risk it all here and try to push Kyler Murray around the turn. Um, let's see here. I definitely want the pass catching upside of Scatterbo, and I definitely think he could be a riser. Um, Tracy wasn't, all that impressive last year, and I think Scatterbo, being that pass catching back, has a lot of value over on DraftKings. So now we're gonna hope that this guy doesn't take a third QB in Kyler Murray. It's just something you got to look at, when you're drafting is making sure, knowing where you can push players and based on what the people around you have. So knowing this guy had two quarterbacks and only two writers or two, he only had two quarterbacks, and he still doesn't really. I would have gone probably two wide receivers if I were him instead of drafting another tight end. But we do get to lock up our Kyler Murray stack, which I feel great about. A little bit of an ADP value, but with the rushing upside and um, with having Trey McBride, I definitely feel like that was an easy pick there. Yep. See, and now we're seeing a little mini run of quarterbacks go off with Goff and Williams going off. They tied to. I see. Yeah, I'm really surprised the Marvin Harrison drafter didn't take Kyler Murray, knowing that I had Trey McBride. Um, that's probably what I would have done. I definitely would have picked Kyler Murray here, and then I would have been forced to push Caleb around the turn. Um, which I mean, it would have been bad, but I definitely love Kyler's rushing upside. But I am in on the Bears this year. I think with Ben Johnson, he's just going to be really creative, and he's going to get that offense going. And on here on DraftKings, you can get Luther Burden in like the 120s or later, where he's around a pick 100 on underdog. So it definitely makes it easier stacking up Caleb Williams. We got one guy on auto already, um, so got to pay attention to that. Hopefully, people are paying attention to auto draft because you can kind of control in a way of who the auto drafters get, just by knowing who's going to be on top of the board and then making them have like worse picks. It's definitely something that I try to do. Like if there was an auto drafter after me, I would definitely, you know, try to control who that person gets. And it's nice that they have like, oh, I kind of wish Underdog had a symbol, like they had like the airplane symbol next to the name for when people go on auto draft, just so you can know visually. Yeah, Tua gets brought up really early here. Not unstacked. Jonnu Smith. But yeah, see, look, Mooney is one of my like favorite value pieces. I saw that before going live. I think he's even a little later. I think he's around like 115 ADP, and he's just he's just like a value where he's like going in like the 90s, mid 80s on underdog, and it's just insane to me that Mooney is going this late, which is why I definitely wouldn't have mind. It didn't fall to us. It didn't happen. To where we could have gotten two like stud RBs early on. We could have picked Hubbard, but Hubbard kind of scares me this year. I know the Canal said that they want to use Rico. They were looking for like another guy who they can have um, take some work, and they went out and they grabbed Rico. So, but I still like Hubbard, um, where he's going, and that was definitely an option. Kamara, not so much. Neither with Connor or Harvey, I would have brought up there, and then um, I possibly could have gotten Aaron Jones, but it was just not falling in the cards. I'm happy with Scatterbo and Barkley where we are right here. Um, oh, Brock Purdy falls back to us. I was thinking about getting Juwan Jennings earlier. Bashal Tootin, Bateman. Let's see, go by rank. I think I'm gonna go with Bashal Tootin. He had the fumbling thing yesterday, but I just think he's gonna be one of Cohen's guys where he could have a Bucky like season. He ends up being the guy, and maybe he learns from you know learns from his fumbling mistakes, and you know they can get him on the right path. I definitely think he has the chance to like break out and have a really great year. Um, go with here. We're gonna go with Jack Besh, just another rookie talent. Also gives us another stacking option later on, and it's also the Week 17 bye, or not Week 17 bye, but Week 17 matchup with Cam Scatterbo. So just a little mini correlation there between them. So yeah, it's always good to have QB outs, and then on that next turn, I should be looking to get. I can probably end up double stat or double picking Bryce Young and Gino if I wanted to on my next turn. We have Shuck as an option, but I don't think we'll need to get there. I'm definitely going to be looking at grabbing Bryce and Gino, and then hammering running backs, hammering the other positions to finish out the draft. Draftkings, actually just in general, I'm more inclined to go three quarterbacks this year. I definitely am not going to be going two as much. Probably only when I either a have to, like if the quarterbacks just don't fall to me in drafts, or if there does come a time, and which I think there will be later on in the year when when these elite quarterbacks start to fall a little bit, to where you can grab like a Josh Allen, you know, on the round on this 3-4 turn, kind of where he was last year, and then draft uh, one other quarterback. That's basically the only time is going to be with like elite quarterbacks. I'll only have two. But even then, I still wouldn't on DraftKings. I wouldn't mind adding a third just to have the variance upside, just helping advance in a pod. So yeah, this guy has Purdy. He took Purdy at a good value, and he has Stroud and Goff, but Purdy is actually double stacked. So yeah, this guy has three quarterbacks, and his four wide receivers could be a little shaky. We don't really know how Travis Hunter is going to pan out. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be good, but then you got Judy Jennings and Ayuk, and it just that wide receiver room does not feel sturdy at all. But he does. He can make up for it with the running backs here, and having the running backs take up that flex spot for him. So let's see here. Matthew Stafford goes a little bit early, but this guy does have Puka and Adams, and knowing that Stafford won't come back to him, there would be no way on DraftKings that Stafford comes all the way back around to him on his next turn. So let's see who we got here. Baker and Godwin's are linked up. Jordan Love is unstacked. Oh, now he pushed Tucker Craft around and got him back there. This guy only has Burrow, and really he's hurting. I mean, he's looking at like Anthony Richardson, or he could have gone Geno there for sure. I'm not worried about anyone else taking quarterbacks around me. It is a little bit unfortunate. I'm gonna have to go two quarterbacks here. Oh, McCarthy is still on the board too. Maybe I do push quarterbacks a little bit here. It is a little bit early. Uh, yeah. Michael Penix is still on the board as well. So let's see here. We're at 1361. What do I want to do here? I'm probably going to go, just because of my running back room right now, like Barkley's great, but I'm going to go with Tajay Spears here with the Week 17 matchup. I believe it's against the Saints. So yeah, that'll give that, and it'll also just give me another solid RB to play with late in the season. Barkley's going to be our anchor. He's going to be scoring 20 to 30 points every week, and then we have a bunch of guys who can easily go off. And then yeah, we're gonna take Bryce Young here to stack up with Ted McMillan. So yeah, we have our two quarterbacks stacked up. Neither of them have Week 17 matchups yet. There's really no Seattle guys later on in the draft I'm looking to grab. Um, we could we could look at Yoshivas later on for Kyler Murray as a Week 17 stack if we want to, or Jasek. I wouldn't mind Jaseki actually, even though I really don't want to have tight ends in the same Week 17 game, but McBride is so good, he can always be in your flex spot too. So that's always an option. Just something to keep an open mind about. I definitely don't see Gino coming back to us, and it's very likely. I don't. Maybe Jaceki probably won't come back to us either, but we can definitely look to grab Tyler Shuck uh, near the end, near the later part of the draft. Um, and then we also have Jackson Dart as an out too with Cam Scatabo, and then we can get someone like Wandale or Darius Slayton later on. Pull up the draft board and Kareem Hunt. That's the first thing I see. Um, Going really early here. JJ McCarthy, an extreme value. I mean, yeah, this guy is just taking all the ADP value. Or no, not really. These are all little early picks over here. Um, so yeah, just you just see a lot more randomness over on DraftKings, which is great in one ways and very frustrating in others. Michael Penix goes off to a guy with Mooney and just that. Let's see. This guy is still 1551. Oh, it feels bad, dude. And that start that he had was so good. And it just hurts me to see what he's doing to that team. I mean, it's good for me. Um, but man, it's just painful to see such a great start absolutely killed. This guy has neighbors. This guy's team is looking pretty solid with Fields and May stacked up. Yep. So yeah, we're gonna be coming back around here. Maybe Gino will come back to us. Let's see if he's on top of the queue. No, Cam Ward is. So, I mean, if we can get lucky and get Gino back to us, that'd be great. But I don't think it's gonna happen. I definitely Tyler Lockett goes off really early. Wow. Romeo Dubs goes. All right. Well, we're gonna start getting that chance where Gino falls back to us here. Where is the Jacoby Myers drafter? Jacoby Myers. Jacoby. I do not. I cannot find Jacoby Myers here. Oh, there he is. Oh, and that guy went Algier. So yeah. Now we're gonna be coming up to a point where I can get Gino at an absolute great value here. The question is, do I want to push him around the turn? This guy, I have to believe that this guy uh, with two elite quarterbacks is not going to want to take another one. And I am going to go get my double stack with Xavier Leggett. And then we're just going to hope that Gino comes back to us. I don't think this guy will take DeAndre Hopkins. That's great. One more pick, and then hopefully we can just land in Gino on this great value. So yeah, things definitely felt pretty nice for us. We're gonna take Gino here and be done at quarterback. Uh, feel great about my quarterback room. I feel great about my team in general. We have an elite tight end. Um, we can grab someone like Jatavian Sanders near the end, and there's a lot of value at tight end. So I'm not too concerned there. And there's also value at running back still left. We have our anchor in Barkley who will carry us every week that he's playing. So yeah, this team is shaping out pretty good, if I do say so. Um, we didn't get killed by any uh, random QB snipes this one. We're having a pretty clean DraftKings draft, which is you know something that doesn't happen quite that often. So yeah, like gosh, if you have one quarterback right now, you're just not having a good time because now your QB2 is gonna have to be like Anthony Richardson or just a bunch of guys with no ceiling really, and then we don't know how much Anthony Richardson's gonna play this year. Uh, Jackson Dart. I mean, I do like Jackson Dart. I think he's probably the best option on the board. Then Sam Darnold. But then again, you just don't know if Sam Darnold's going to be playing at the end of the year. So like it's getting really, really dicey on quarterbacks. And Fryermuth goes really late. He's a great value. He's probably one of my favorite value tight ends. Um, I definitely think he should be going a lot higher. Let's see. Maybe Michael Wilson can fall back to us, and we can end, or or we can probably maybe get like Greg Dortch later on. And I probably don't want to do that though. Wide receiver three, probably the fourth, fifth option on the offense in general. But we'll see what comes back to us. I definitely don't mind just having Kyler Murray and Trey McBride on our squad, and then we have Bryce double stacked. Um, Gino, I think is fine how it is. I wish we had like a Jacoby Myers on our side. Um, it would have been great if he would have came back to us around, or I guess maybe not fall back to us. The turn's going that way, but I definitely think Olave is in a much higher tier than Jacoby Myers is. So yeah, Tyler Shuck goes. Let's see who is going on. Yep, he got Anthony Richardson over here. Tyler Shuck. I think that is unstacked. Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, yeah, this guy, even with Drake May and Fields, just to get a, like, if you knew you were going to go three quarterbacks anyways, he definitely should have gone uh, Gino over here at 160. Like, I feel like this falling from having someone like Gino to getting someone like Tyler Shock is just a big range of outcomes. So let's see here. Devin Neal is someone who I'm looking to target. Uh, I definitely think he could win out the backup job uh, to Kamara. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. Continuing making on our little Saints bet for the end of the year, and just a nice PPR back. Let's see, 3-5-2-1. Any tight ends here? Um, all of those tight ends have to go a little bit later. Yeah, 224. Theo Johnson's 225. Yeah, I'm gonna bring in Chig Okonkwo here. I like Chig, and he has a different bye week than and McBride. So yeah, that works for me. And it brings on that little. We're basically we basically have that week 17 bet on this Tennessee and New Orleans game. Having two players from each team in the game, so uh, have that game stacked just a little bit, just to have that correlation in there. Let's see, Jackson Dart goes. Juwan Johnson right there. Yep, that's always a fail safe that you have near the end of drafts. Um, is having Tyler Shuck being able to just get paired with Juwan Johnson. And Terrence Ferguson goes. I do like Terrence Ferguson. I definitely think maybe near the end of the year he can, um, you know, get in that more starting role. But still, Tyler Higbee's still there, and I definitely Terrence Ferguson feels more like a year two, year three kind of player rather than someone who has a good who like comes onto the scene this year. But we got 3 more rounds left, 20 rounds over on DraftKings instead of the 18 as usual. So probably going to end up around 3-6-8-3. That's a very common build on DraftKings. Um, Looking to grab one more each of the running back, wide receiver, and tight end. So we'll see who comes back around to us. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of value over on DraftKings just to where players go. So I definitely don't mind having these options back, but it looks like tight end is. No, we're still good on tight end. I mean, we still have our Jatavian Sanders, and um, if we really have to, we can go to like Elijah Arroyo for a Week 17 stack with Seattle and the Panthers. Let's see who's coming back to us. Will Shipley goes a little bit later. Love that pick. Will Shipley is definitely going to be a guy who I have a lot of this year. Um, Isaac Tesla, definitely another great option later on in the draft. J.K. Dobbins is now in that range where, you know, as long as he signs, he'll jump up several rounds. So, like, I wouldn't mind grabbing someone like him. Let's see here. I think Marshawn Lloyd is an extreme value here. What does this guy have? I don't want to push Marshawn Lloyd around and grab a tight end now. So we're just going to take that how it is. And then probably going to take Tutu Atwell here. We could take Torrey Horton actually and make that bet on this game. And then but I'm probably going to lock up Jatavian Sanders here. I definitely think Torrey Horton can come back to us just to have that stacked piece with Bryce Young. This guy goes Wicks, and then we'll see who else he takes. Woody Marks is another rookie running back. I definitely don't mind picking up. Oh, Tank Dell. Yeah, see, that's the thing you'll get on DraftKings. Tank Dell still has a very live ADP to get drafted. So if you're out of drafting, and you don't have Tank Dell like completely like not in your ranks, you're alive to get him. Tutu Atwell feels like or would be a great pick, but we are going to lock in Jatavian Sanders here with our stack and just hope that another year together they work on having a little bit better of a connection. So yeah, triple stack Bryce Young, not really something I want to do a lot, but it gives us a lot more outs, especially in the playoff weeks. Um, just a more randomness happening here. So I don't mind that, and it makes sense with our team that we have. And then you can look at either taking the best value picks. I can just start queuing up players now, or we can take Torrey Horton as our Week 17 stack. Possibly even take Trey Tucker if we really want to double stack um, Geno Smith here. Uh, Thornton is an option too, but I think Thornton is more of a year two, year three kind of wide receiver on this Raiders team. I still think Trey Tucker is going to be the starter over him. And we don't know really if Thornton's going to make the team or not. But uh, and when I say make the team, like make like the starting lineup. I can't really see myself drafting anyone else that's available. Oh, Greg Dortch is there. I will bring him up, but probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't pick him over. Like he's very low on my priority list here. Let's see here. Yep, saw Daniel Jones goes out. All right, so this guy did what Corain was talking about yesterday on Pete's stream. Basically locking up the Indianapolis quarterback situation here. So, as I mean, Stafford and then having two Colts quarterbacks, it definitely doesn't feel great. That start that he had, it just that plane crashed a long time ago, and but and now we're just making it worse with like another explosion of having two quarterbacks on the same team. You're guaranteeing yourself 1-0 every single week, no matter what, at the quarterback spot, which is not something you want to do. GM Hartman, thanks for dropping on by. If you guys aren't following Hartman Fantasy Football, make sure you go to his channel and follow him. He's starting on his streaming as well. Uh, I know I'm going to try and catch his streams whenever I can. So, yeah, we're coming up here onto our last pick. I think I am going to keep Torrey Horton. Just making the bet that Cooper Cup um, is just not going to be, fantasy relevant this year. And by the end of the season, the Seahawks will be um, playing their, you know, just trying to see who they have on their team. And Torrey Horton was great in college. He had a little injury, I believe, last year, but he should be good to go. And having that rookie upside late in the year, he could be that spike week in the end of the year that propels his team to advancing. So yeah, we're gonna end this draft with Torrey Horton. So just to serve the audio listeners before we hop off here, um, we have Kyler Murray, Bryce Young, and Geno Smith, all past ADP. I believe I got them at. Hard to tell. The UI is definitely a lot worse on DraftKings, but those are our three quarterbacks. We have Barkley, Scatabo, Tootin. We're gonna stay for the draft. Tootin, Spears, Devin Neal, Marshawn Lloyd for our running backs. I love our running back room. We got the Anchor and Barkley, and then we have a lot of exciting uh, rookies slash young running backs for the year. Wide receivers: Terry McLaurin, Ted McMillan, Sutton, Rome Odunze, Chris Olave is our fifth wide receiver on this team. Jack Bash, Xavier Legette, and Torrey Horton. And then our tight ends are Trey McBride, Jatavian Sanders, and Chig Okonkwo. So that'll be it from me. I'm gonna look to possibly stream drafts um, in the morning or during at lunch. Don't really have a set schedule yet, but I am. If you notice in the background, there are moving boxes everywhere. I am moving, so it's getting a little hectic, but I want to be consistent coming on most days, uh, doing a live stream or either putting out a video. So um, definitely want to keep it up and grow watcher base around here. And then also I do have a link to the Discord server below. It's unlike any other Discord server you're gonna find in the best ball space. I think I have it laid out pretty well, if I do say so myself. If the streams don't look as pretty and the thumbnails don't look as great yet, but I can fall back on the Discord server looking pretty good. It's set up pretty well. So yeah, the link is down below. Um, Feel free to join. It's set up for Underdog and DraftKings. There's news alerts that go out. I also have alerts for when basically most best ball streamers go live. So you guys can always, it's just a nice little resource of information. So, you can keep up with any streamer that you want to watch. Oh, yeah, 5 a.m. Yeah, no, I understand. Uh, must be on the West Coast, which being in here, that's early. Uh, yeah, that's getting up quite early. But yeah, thanks for hopping in. Definitely appreciate it. And same to you, best ball guy or best ball on call. I definitely appreciate you guys coming in here and spending time. Thank you. I really hard on worked really hard on the Discord. Not that many people in there, only about 40 people in there talking, but I definitely want to start getting more people in there and making it like a very active and live server. But that will be it for me. I do have to start. The link should be in the description below. If it's not, I'll add it there um, right after this video, right after I end the stream. But thank you guys for coming and watching. GM JT Best Ball. Yep, I saw your stream last night as I was just getting ready to get off for the night. We'll definitely have to find a time to link up together so we can do a DraftKings draft. But yeah, that'll be it from me. Chad Candle should be going live here in 15 minutes. So head over onto his channel. I'll be there in the chat while I'm working from home. So, yep, have a great day, guys. Um, and I will see you the next time.